late at night baking bread from scratch in our wood stove, like 30 loaves of bread from scratch every single night to make sandwiches for all of these men to go to work to build the road. Like, how crazy is that?
Welcome back to the Wake Up Property series on the Waking Up From Work podcast YouTube channel. If you are watching this YouTube channel, then you're interested in renovation, business, mindset, small business, startup. You're seeing behind the scenes of our project right now, renovating a 1850s farm up in Maine into a recording studio, artist getaway, Airbnb, and a place for us to live to, and we're showing you everything that's going on there. So thank you to everyone that's been following this. If you haven't been following it but you like what you see today, or you liked any of the other videos, please consider liking and subscribing down below. That really helps us. We appreciate having you around, and if you're liking what you're seeing, that helps other people see it as well on here. So thank you.
And in case you are hopefully tuning into all of these, I have blue hair today, and I didn't when we shot the video, so that's the elephant in the room.
We just want to be transparent with that.
Yeah.
Well, green, blue with that.
Yeah.
Teal. With that.
Okay.
On today's video, you're going to get a shorter one. This was a follow-up video watching the last one that showed metal detecting. It showed the relics and pieces and odd things that we found in the ceilings and the walls during demolition here. So if you want to check out some of the crazy and scary things that we found at this, please go back and check out that last video called Metal Detecting. I'll put this up here. In this video, it's kind of a follow-up to that. That's not so much the pieces and the things that we're finding here, but more of the story of an 1850s house. If you aren't an old home buyer, or you're thinking about buying an old home and you're into it, with this episode, we're gonna share everything that we've learned so far from hearsay in town. So we believe that most of this is accurate because it is also coming from some of the relatives of people that had this property. So we feel like most of this is true, but we are also going to probably do another episode at some point where we work with the historical societies around here to really dig into this property and research it a little bit more. But the story for this house is extremely interesting, and it explains a lot more about some of the places that we're renovating in some of the other videos. You can see the why behind why would this be built like that. That's what you hear me say a lot when you're seeing the actual renovation process when I'm doing something and it makes no sense and it's so frustrating. I'm like, why would you do this thing? There's usually actually a reason, and it was because something was made to do something that made complete sense at that time, but in 2021 it just makes zero sense, and we're trying to make it do things in 2021. So check out the story. It's really interesting. Hope you like it. Shorter video today. It's going to be fun.
Okay, so to break down some of the numerous stories that we have heard about this property, we're going to try and give you a quick run through of the timeline of all the different owners that we've heard who have lived here. So from what we can gather, we're the fourth family to own this house.
Yes.
This isn't from any historian or historical fact. This is all hearsay from our neighbors and random strangers in the community just telling us things and us piecemealing this together.
This could be all fabricated
This
entirely.
could be an entire
We could live
fallacy.
a lie right now.
I don't know. I just wanted to let you guys know that we don't actually know if this is true or not. It is an old house, so it's very possible that it is, and we do have some photographs to show some of these things. There's parts of it that are at least true. Back in the day, in the 1850s, when this house was built, two brothers actually owned basically all the land on our road. The one brother owned a barn and a house on the other side of the street and all of the land back there, and one brother owned our house and barn and all of the land on this side. It's a lot of land. So they named the road after our two houses, which is pretty cool. And people just know this, which is, once again, I never knew anything about my town's street names. I don't know how everyone knows this, but people know that this road is named after those two brothers. So the brother who owned this house was actually a soldier in the Civil War fighting for the Union. And when the second owner purchased this house, she found several cannonballs from the Civil War underneath the barn.
Yes, along with a covered carriage and many other, like, the barn was filled. We wish that we were here to find that stuff.
We do still have some of the big wheels from the carriages, like the horse-drawn carriages, but there was like a straight up wooden carriage in the barn. So then the second owner who moved in is actually the great aunt of the two neighbors who live on either side of us, on the left and the right side of us. Their great aunt lived here, so they kind of grew up in this house.
Also strange.
Also
super cool.
And they're incredibly nice people, and they've given us a wealth of knowledge. That aunt, she actually opened up this house to be a boarding house to house all of the men who were doing construction on the main road that attached our town to the neighboring town. That's why our layout is so strange upstairs, where we have 3 bedrooms that are connected to each other, is because it was a boarding house and they didn't care.
You can see where we're building the apartment, some of those additional bedrooms are becoming still a master bedroom, but also a bathroom and a walk-in area and all these other things, because there were multiple rooms for no use.
We're updating the layout to make it a little bit more functional for modern day, so we don't have to walk through 2 bedrooms to get to a bedroom. This woman who ran this boarding house, she would be up late at night baking bread from scratch in our wood stove, like 30 loaves of bread from scratch every single night to make sandwiches for all of these men to go to work to build the road. Like, how crazy is that? In a wood cooktop.
Yeah, a lot of work.
A lot of work. And she was actually also featured in the National Geographic magazine for backyard Maine farmers. And she was out back picking some blueberries, very stereotypical of Maine.
We intend to regrow here.
Yes, we do want some Maine blueberries growing on our property, make some blueberry jam.
Let's go.
So yes, that's the majority of the history lesson that we've learned so far. But what's really interesting and really unique to a New England historic property is that even though this house is a bunch of structures and a bunch of additions, all of the additions were put on in the 1800s. There is not a single modern structure on this building, and we can tell because when we're ripping things apart, there's straight up trees with bark still on them supporting everything.
Which are wonderful for keeping a level floor, any modern updates, any insulation, anything that you possibly want to do. It is wonderful to work with logs.
Yes.
I will tell you that. Let's all go back to logs. It's basically like Lincoln Logs. It's literally that easy. You just connect them together, it builds the house, it's perfect. Love it.
Yeah.
Quick update. So this is something that we found in renovation process before we started and finished this video that I just wanted to share into this. It's not so much history so much as it is another thing to point out how this building has changed and showing more into how the rooms have developed. So we found out that we actually had a house that went more of a degreed angle, but they cut the joists entirely, took the joists still attached to the original boards of the roof, and then just lifted that puppy up so it could be a full dormered roof. We couldn't really see any of that when we had all the plaster and lathe up. They had done that change a long time ago, but now that all of the ceiling, all of the walls, everything's down and we're starting to rebuild that area now, we can see that we have some joists that were for the ceiling that actually have come apart from that 90-degree angle and are exposing nails because they lifted that thing up so much. So funky things in the structural going on for old houses there, but we got a bigger place because of it. So that was pretty legit.
So typically it's called a New Englander style, is when they start with the original house, and then 50 years later someone adds an addition, and then 50 years later someone adds an addition, and someone, just keeps going on. And our first house was like that, and that house is from 1799. So this house is new to us, but it had one little tiny main house that was 1.5 stories and only 2 rooms wide, and then they added another room, and then they added another room, and then they added another room, which causes a lot of issues when you start to combine the modern and the old with like where roof lines hit and all that. You can run into issues.
Yep.
So it's really pretty interesting and unique that they built all of this structure in the 1800s, and the main reason why they did that is because they didn't want to go outside to tend to the animals in the barn. So they built the house and the barn, and then very quickly realized that Maine sucks in the winter. So then they built buildings that connect them.
And the reason why they don't do that anymore, and they stopped doing that not that long after that time period, is because they realized that when you catch fire on any of the buildings using the lanterns that you use, then you burn down everything, including your barn. So we're gonna try not to do that, but that's why we have this weird assortment of buildings, is because we needed to be able to walk through in the wintertime, which you can still walk through every single building in the wintertime, which is still convenient, and you still have to be very careful about a fire because you have all of the buildings that can burn down now instead of just one.
Well, thanks so much for watching. I know this was very different from our typical content, but you know, sometimes it's nice to break it down and talk to you about what's going on. If you liked what you saw, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, smash that like, comment down below, all of the things. Really helps us out.
Every other Friday, we have a new video that comes out. So I know that's kind of hard to track, so that's why the subscribe is legit. It's not just ridiculous. But every other Friday, we have a new video out if you're keeping up with us here. If you want to keep up with us on a day-to-day, at Dave Wake Up or at Wake Up Properties on TikTok, Instagram, Clubhouse, Twitter, everywhere is kind of that deal. You can keep up with us there or DM us there. If you're starting a business or you're going after your creative and your passion and you want to hear more of others that do that, check out the podcast, wakingupfromwork.com, Waking Up From Work podcast. Yeah, I'm kind of cross-repping right now, not on purpose. And I interview weekly musicians, artists, entrepreneurs, people talking about what they are going after and how they got there. Hit me up on there and let me know what you think there as well. Let us know down below, what is the favorite or most interesting piece of the history of this house that you found? Also, let us know down below, what's the story of your house or your place? Even if you're renting a place and it's not your own house, like what's the crazy story that you've heard about it or you know about it? Let us know down below. We want to hear it.
All right. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you. Checking out the light. I'm checking out this mic. I'm checking out this light and I'm checking out this mic. Yeah, I'm checking out this light. I'm checking out this mic. I'm checking out this light and I'm checking out this mic.